A unique, hybrid machine built from federal marshals, state troopers, grizzled Texas Rangers, and the sharpest local detectives from a dozen different precincts. They have erased the lines on the map. They have removed the red tape. And this is the untold story of how they take the most dangerous humans in Texas off the board. Imagine a target. Let's look at a file. The name is Julian Croft. In the sterile light of a briefing room, he's just pixels on a screen and text on a rap sheet. But out there, he is a real, breathing threat. Aggravated kidnapping. Assault. He beat his ex-girlfriend within an inch of her life and told her, explicitly, that if she went to the police, he would finish the job. He knows the law is looking for him. He has gone to ground. He's ditched his phone, he's ditched his car, and he's hiding in the vastness of Texas. In the briefing room, the air is thick with coffee and tension. A senior criminal analyst, the civilian brain behind the tactical muscle, pulls up the map. This isn't just about finding a guy, it's about dissecting a life. Julian Croft, 34 years old. He has family in San Antonio, a cousin in Del Rio. He worked a ranch near Midland last year. The analyst is building a web. They aren't just hunting Croft. They are hunting his network. Because nobody survives on the run alone. Someone is feeding him. Someone is housing him. And the task force is going to find that weak link. The supervisory deputy U.S. Marshal, a man whose face is etched with the stress of 1,000 manhunts, addresses the room. His voice is calm, but it carries a weight that silences the shuffling of papers. This is our priority. Croft is a coward who preys on the vulnerable. But remember, he is a cornered animal. Every door you knock on today, every car you pull over, you assume he is on the other side, and you assume he has a gun in his lap. The investigation that follows isn't like the movies. It's not a montage of high-speed chases. It is a grind. It is the definition of hurry up and wait. It begins with shoe leather police work. The task force hits the streets, knocking on doors in run-down neighborhoods where the humidity clings to your skin like a second shirt. They talk to the people Croft knows, and here is the reality of the job. Everyone lies. You talk to 10 people, and 9 of them will lie to your face. They'll look you in the eye and say, "I haven't seen him in years," while the fugitive is sitting in the back room. A veteran DPS trooper explains it best. You are looking for the crack in the wall. You are looking for the one person who is tired. Tired of the fear, tired of the drama, tired of looking over their shoulder. While the operators sweat it out on the street, the digital war is raging back at headquarters. The analysts are digging through the digital exhaust that every modern human leaves behind. It takes a week of dead ends, but then a ping. A tiny, almost invisible mistake. A financial transaction. $100. Sent via a cash app from a woman with a minor record to a generic account. It seems meaningless, but the analysts trace the woman. She's the new girlfriend of Croft's cousin. And the transaction? It was made from a public Wi-Fi hotspot at a coffee shop in Midland, hundreds of miles away. Suddenly, the map shrinks. The focus snaps tight on Midland. This is where the task force flexes its real muscle. They deploy surveillance teams. They use unmarked vehicles that blend into the background like urban camouflage. They might put a drone in the air, a silent, buzzing eye in the sky, to watch the patterns of life at the cousin's house. This is the patience game. You watch a house for 12 hours straight. You pee in a bottle. You eat stale energy bars. You wait. Because if you rush it, if you kick that door too early and he's not there, you've burned the lead. You've lost him. And don't think for a second their reach is limited to Texas. This is the same unit that tracked fugitive Caitlin Armstrong, wanted for a high-profile murder, all the way to a hostel in Costa Rica after a 43-day international manhunt. They coordinated with Mexican authorities to grab Oscar Rosales, a cop killer who fled across the border. Geography is not a shield for these people. If you run, you just die tired. Back in Midland, the patience pays off. A man steps out onto the back porch to smoke a cigarette. He's heavier than the mugshot. His head is shaved. But through the long lens of a camera, the marshals spot it. A distinctive tattoo on the neck. Positive ID. The waiting is over. The hurry-up phase begins now. The final briefing is conducted in the dark, illuminated only by the red glow of tactical flashlights on the hood of an SUV. The plan is simple, brutal, and precise. Entry team front door, breach and clear. Containment, you own the perimeter. If a rabbit runs, you catch it. The gear checks are done. The metallic click-clack of rifles being charged is the only sound in the night. The convoy rolls in. Lights off, engines quiet. They ghost into the neighborhood. The entry team stacks up on the door. The lead man holds the ram, a heavy steel key to any lock. The team leader raises a hand. 3, 2, 1. Crack! The sound of the door frame splintering is deafening, and then, chaos controlled. Police! Hands up! Get on the ground! The team flows into the house like water, flooding every room simultaneously. Right side clear, hallway clear. They find the cousin and the girlfriend, terrified, stumbling out of bed, but the back bedroom door is locked. Julian Croft, U.S. Marshals, come out now! Silence. The breacher hits the bedroom door. It swings open. Inside, Croft is scrambling, halfway out a window, trying to claw his way to freedom. But a deputy is there instantly, grabbing him by the belt, hauling him back inside with the kind of force that ends a fight before it starts. The struggle is brief. The cuffs snap shut. The radio crackles. Suspect in custody. And just like that, the tension in the room snaps. The adrenaline dump hits. You can see the shoulders of the deputies drop an inch. They sit Croft up against the wall. The monster from the briefing file looks small now, defeated. As they walk him out to the transport vehicle, the sun is just starting to bleed over the horizon. The neighborhood is waking up. People are peeking through their blinds, watching the silent procession of law enforcement fade away as quickly as they arrived. There is no victory lap. There is no parade. Marshal Hayes gathers the team for a 10-second debrief. Good work. Clean entry. We go home safe. They do this for the victims. They do this for operations like Lightning Bug, where they recovered dozens of missing and exploited children from human traffickers. They do it because someone has to stand on that wall. A seasoned deputy leans against his truck, watching the sunrise. Every day you wake up, you don't know if you're going to sit in a car for 12 hours or breach a door with a gunman on the other side. But you do it. You do it because when people live in fear, they need to know that there are wolves who hunt the wolves. The Lone Star fugitive. Task Force is already packing up. The gear goes back in the trunk. The phones are already buzzing with the next name, the next file, the next hunt. Because in Texas, there is nowhere left to run. Imagine an engine. But this isn't a machine made of steel, pistons, or spark plugs. It is a ghost engine, built entirely out of vapor, wind, and heat. And yet, this invisible machine is so powerful that a single one, in just 24 hours, generates as much energy as the entire human race consumes in a full year. We call them hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones. But stripped of their names, they are simply nature's most violent way of balancing the books. You see, the Earth has an energy problem. The tropics get too much sun, and the poles get too little. To fix this, the planet has to move massive amounts of heat from the equator to the poles. Usually, ocean currents and gentle breezes handle this job. But sometimes the heat builds up too fast. The ocean becomes a ticking bomb of thermal energy. And when the conditions are perfect, nature strikes a match. But how does it happen? How do you go from a calm, sunny patch of ocean to a swirling vortex capable of flattening cities? It turns out building a monster requires a very specific, very delicate recipe. You can't just have a storm. You need a perfect conspiracy of physics. First, you need the fuel. And I'm not talking about just warm water. That's the simplified version. You need a massive thermal battery. The ocean surface temperature needs to hit at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 26.5 degrees Celsius. But here is the catch. It can't just be the top inch of water. This heat needs to go deep, at least 150 feet down. This deep reservoir is critical because as the storm starts to churn, it acts like a mixer. If the warm water is shallow, the storm will churn up cold water from the deep, effectively pouring a bucket of ice on its own fire. But if that heat runs deep, the engine keeps burning. Second, you need a spark. Hurricanes almost never spontaneously combust out of nothing. They need a seed. In the Atlantic, this seed usually travels thousands of miles before it ever sprouts. We call them African easterly waves. These are ripples of low pressure that roll off the chaotic deserts of North Africa. They drift out over the Atlantic, looking like nothing more than a messy cluster of thunderstorms. This is the embryo. Without this initial disturbance, the fuel just sits there, untapped. Third, you need the atmosphere to sweat. The air needs to be dripping with humidity, not just at the surface, but miles up into the sky. This moisture is the vehicle for the energy. As warm air rises, it pulls water vapor up with it. When that vapor hits the cold upper atmosphere, it condenses back into liquid rain. And this is the magic trick of thermodynamics. When water vapor turns back into liquid, it releases heat. It's called latent heat. This release of heat warms the air around it, making it lighter, which makes it rise faster, which sucks up more moisture from the ocean. It creates a self-sustaining feedback loop, a runaway train of rising air. But a rising column of air isn't a hurricane, it's just a storm. To turn a storm into a monster, you need the planet to help. You need the spin. This is the Coriolis effect. Because the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, fluids moving across its surface get deflected. In the northern hemisphere, they twist to the right. This twist is what kickstarts the rotation. It's why hurricanes can never form right on the equator. The Coriolis force there is zero. The air would just rush straight into the center and fill the vacuum. You need that twist to keep the center open, to create the eye. And finally, you need silence, or specifically low vertical wind shear. This is the most fragile part of the process. You need the winds at the ocean surface, and the winds 5 miles up to be blowing at roughly the same speed and direction. If the upper-level winds are too strong, they act like a bully. They decapitate the storm. They push the top of the chimney away from the fire, disconnecting the engine, and the whole thing falls apart. So we have our ingredients: deep heat, a seed from Africa, humidity, the Earth's spin, and atmospheric calm. Now let's watch the birth. It starts as a tropical disturbance. It looks like a mess, a disorganized blob of clouds drifting west. At this stage, it's fighting for its life. Dry air from the Sahara is trying to choke it. Wind shear is trying to tear it apart. Most of these disturbances die right here. They are the failed experiments. But if our recipe holds, the pressure in the center begins to drop. The ocean starts to exhale more heat. The updrafts get stronger. The Coriolis effect grabs that rising air and twists it. Suddenly, the chaos finds a rhythm. The winds align. They start cycling around a closed center. We have graduated. This is now a tropical depression. It gets a number. The winds are manageable, under 39 miles per hour, but the structure is there. The engine is idling. If the water stays warm and the shear stays low, the feedback loop goes hyperbolic. The depression sucks in more air, spins faster, and tightens its core. When winds break 39 miles per hour, it earns a name. It becomes a tropical storm. At this point, the storm is a teenager, volatile, growing, and dangerous. You'll see the spiral bands forming, those long arms of rain wrapping around the center. And then, something terrifying happens. The rotation becomes so fast, so violent, that the centrifugal force pushes the air outward, away from the center. In the very middle, the air starts to sink. The clouds evaporate. The wind dies. The sky clears. The eye opens. When you see that eye on a satellite, you know the beast has arrived. We have reached hurricane status. Winds over 74 miles per hour. This is a mature heat engine operating at peak efficiency. Let's look at the anatomy of this thing. The eye is a paradox. It is the calmest place in the storm. A stadium of blue sky 20 miles wide. But it is surrounded by the eye wall. This is the ring of death. This is where the winds are strongest, where the updrafts are most violent. If you are on the ground and the eye passes over you, the wind stops. The sun comes out. You think it's over. And then 10 minutes later, the other side of the eye wall hits you, slamming you with hurricane-force winds from the complete opposite direction. We measure this destruction on the Saffir-Simpson scale. A Category 1 is bad. Shingles fly off, trees snap.